Oh, good morning.
Good morning. So we know that you are from Guernsey. Why do you recommend Guernsey as a destination for travel?
Guernsey is one of these places where it's British, it has the same language, but one of the big things about it, because it's an island, there is a big, powerful community there. And even some of the famous people of the world love going there because they can be themselves. They're not a star anymore.
So,
They can walk down the street and nobody's wanting autographs or photographs from them. They can be a normal person.
okay. So you mean like there is a community and there is not such a big difference between those millionaires who live there and normal people?
Exactly. Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about what Guernsey as an island look like?
Guernsey as an island, if you would look at a map, it's like a triangle. It's not quite an equilateral triangle. It's more like an isosceles triangle for those of you that know your mathematics. It's very flat in the north, and I say hilly, it's not really. It's like a wedge of cheese, with the south coast cliffs being about sort of 50 metres, 50, 60, maybe 100 metres high cliffs in the south, whereas the north of the island is very flat.
So people, when they want to go places, they are interested in some activities that they can do. So what they can do?
Anything that you would be able to do in a normal big city, with the exception of some of the more extreme sports. But obviously, with it being an island, there's an awful lot of water sports involved. You can go coasting, which is where you go running and climbing around parts where the public wouldn't normally go. You're with a guide, and that can be a bit of fun. As I say, any kind of water sports. You would think that on an island there would be no motorsports, but actually there is. They have sprints over the measured kilometre, and they have a crazy thing there which happens during the summer season, where people take old cars and they convert them, and they are like a beach buggy. They drive them on races on the beach. When the tide goes out, there's big areas of sand, and these crazy people drive these cars, special modified cars, around a circuit on the beach. There's even motorbikes that do it as well. So motorsport is...
This is just our daughter shouting.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, people would like to swim when they go on holiday. Is
Indeed.
it possible?
Absolutely. One of the safest places, even though it's in the Atlantic, all of the bays are actually in the shape of a C, depending on how you look at it, and so long as you stay within that area, you will have no problem at all. But one of the best things to do is to actually go swimming when the tide is coming in, because that way you've got especially if it's in the afternoon, you've had the morning with the hot sun on the sand, would have warmed up the sand, so you then get the water coming over the hot sand. But what is also happening is if you go a little bit too far out, the water is pushing you into the bay. So
And
you're
the
perfectly
beaches
safe.
are made of stones, or?
On the west side of the island, they are all beautiful sandy beaches. On the east side of the island, which is not that popular because obviously it doesn't get the sun in the afternoon, those are mostly stony beaches.
But when I was there, I was absolutely shocked that water sports such as swimming and windsurfing were done even in January.
Indeed.
How is it possible?
Well, those that know water sports know that you can have a second skin known as a wetsuit, and you can get very thick neoprene wetsuits which cover the whole body, and it's one of these sports that when you do it in that at that level, it's adrenaline as well is running through, so because you're active, because you're actually using your body, you actually generate the heat. So but yes, no, it's a very, very popular windsurfing, kite surfing, canoeing, all done in the winter. Yep.
How can people get on the island? Because we know that it's in the Atlantic. It's about 100 kilometers south from the south coast of England and about 30 kilometers from the French coast.
Right.
So how do you get there?
Two ways. You can go by boat. If you are in England, you can go by boat from Poole, which is in Dorset, and there is a fast ferry which takes you from Poole to the islands. Equally, if you are in France and you're in the Breton area of France, Mont Saint-Michel is probably a famous place that most people know of. There is a town there called Saint-Malo, and the same ferry goes from there as well. The only other way of getting to the island is to fly. If you're in England, you have basically two options. It's either Gatwick or Stansted. If you fly to any other place, you then have to get yourself to these two airports. If you're in France, again, there is Dinan, which is very close to St. Malo. In other parts of Europe, they are now flying only for the summer. I believe now that there is a service from Dusseldorf, but don't quote me on that one. So basically go on the Visit Guernsey website, and they will probably have a link to the airlines, and you should be able to find out from there. There are two main airlines flying in and out of the island. One is the local Guernsey airline, which is called Aurigny, and the other one is Flybe.
Yeah, you will find the names of the airports and airlines under the video.
Yeah.
Now, the last thing is, of course, accommodation and food. Where can people stay in Guernsey?
You can stay from anything from a very small pension, guest house. The one thing you cannot do is take a motorhome there. There are campsites, so you can go and stay in tents. That's not a problem. But the one thing they will not allow you to do is to take a motorhome or even a caravan onto the island. It's one of these quirky things to do with the housing laws, that they consider that to be a movable house and you can't have it. But anything from a tent right through to a 5-star luxury hotel.
But I also want to mention that you need a car on the island. Even there are some buses going around the island. It's better to have a car. It's more comfortable, isn't it?
It's more comfortable. It's the same everywhere now. The car is king. Even though the island is small, and for a lot of people, when they realise how small the island is, they say, you walk everywhere, don't you? No, the car is king everywhere these days, unfortunately.
Why isn't it possible to walk everywhere on the island?
Oh, it is. It's just that the car has taken over completely, and because of that, there are very few safe pavements or sort of sidewalks, to give the American phrase, where you can actually walk safely. If you're walking in the road, and you have cars and trucks and buses passing very close to you, and it can be very dangerous, especially if you've got family.
Yeah, and I want to mention also that when we imagine road on the continent here and road in Guernsey, there is a big difference.
Oh, yes. The biggest road on the island is one of the smaller roads here in Europe. So there are a lot of what we call lanes, and they are one car width, but it is a two-way road. So when two cars meet in the road, and it happens often, one of them has to back up, and they usually drive into the entrance to a farmer's field or to an entrance to a home, and then they let the other car pass, back out and continue their journey. That happens a lot. It's one of those things you have to be aware of when you are driving on the island.
But driving is very safe on
Yes, it
Guernsey
is.
because the maximum speed, Martin, is?
Maximum speed in kilometres is about 50 kilometres. It's 35 miles an hour, which is about 47 kilometres.
Yeah.
But one thing you can do, if you decide to fly or go by boat as a foot passenger, you can hire or rent cars there for a day, for a week. So, you don't need to take your own car there.
Okay. We'll speak about food and restaurants next time. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Martin. Bye-bye.
Bye.